Okay, so here we are with Lua. This is going to be our first session here on the leash. And you can see there's, some pulling. Lua, good girl. So she's not interested in the treats yet. Let's just test real quick. So that's actually the most smelling that she's done so far, but she's not interested. Come on, Lua, good girl. So really what I just want to be doing now is just getting her brain to move and follow. As we've been having her just hang out in the yard, she just whines. She does have a lot of anxiety. That's one of the things that we're going to be working on here. Her owners need to be able to have her relax for a few hours while they're working. They do take her to work, but they need her to be able to be left on her own. Good girl, come on. For a few hours, good girl, and have her relax. And so we almost can't even, come on, Lua, come on, good girl. We almost can't even just have her here in the yard and have that separation there. Come on, without her starting to manifest. So I'm just, good girl. You can see she's following. Haven't really been pinpointing, come on, good girl, any of her turns here. But even here, she's starting to build and whine. So we're just gonna keep that brain, come on, good girl, moving. Good, good, good. So she's willing to follow. Good girl. Yay, good girl, come on. Dia, stay. Come on. Good girl. Yeah. So as we start to teach her more, start to require more from her, this is going to start to fade away. So it's very important for your dogs that are anxious. You got to look at that as they're manifesting, right? So we need to get that brain to be doing something else. And really, the only thing that brain can be doing is working. And so I don't think that when I'm saying, hey, we need to get the brain to do something else, this is where you start spending a lot of money on puzzles and treats and bones and things that are supposed to stimulate the dog's brain, but eventually they just get tired of those. So, and that isn't going to solve, that doesn't teach your dog to take direction, to follow. It doesn't create any leadership, right? Good girl, come on, good girl. Even here, interesting, as I give her a little bit more verbal and even that physical praise there, she starts to whine. So let's just see if we just keep going back and forth here. Good girl. If that will subside a little, at least through this first session here. Good girl. So, I think that, those things I was just explaining, games, puzzles, whatever, to me, they're kind of just Band-Aids. They are good, maybe useful tools in aiding and helping you work on your dog's anxiousness, okay, but they're not going to solve the problem, all right? Because really, where your problem is stemming from lack of direction, lack of teaching, maybe some lack of rules. Okay, you gotta have rules, and all of that is proper mental stimulation. You actually have to work with the brain, right? You can't solve a brain issue with an outside source like that. This is an internal issue here, okay? Good girl, let's go. So we need to just flood that anxious brain with so much direction, right? So direction meaning this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. That's direction, right? It's got to be both sides. What you can do, what you can't do. Both sides. She's doing really good with this turning. She's doing really good. So I am refraining. She's doing really good. I'm refraining from petting her right now and then actually giving her that verbal feedback, because again, I've noticed that she starts to build. She starts to whine. with that. So this was just a little bit of a test here to see if I don't do that, does she kind of stay neutral, right? Because what's happening is she's having to follow me. Look, like I'm being unpredictable on the leash. Again, this is, guys, this is gonna solve all of your reaction issues if your dog is lunging and barking and, you know, reacting to other dogs or whatever it is outside. Like, it's very hard to do all of those things if you're being unpredictable and your dog has to pay attention to you, right? So right now, it's a little hard for her to be manifesting over whatever it is, any type of anxiousness, if we're just doing this back and forth here and she has to follow. It's very, very hard. So if you look at that concept and you apply it in other areas with your dog, it's very hard for your dog to do a lot of unwanted behaviors if you're requiring so many other things from them, right? So the recipe is really just, well, it's not the recipe. The idea is flood with direction. You gotta flood your dog with direction. They need direction, right? But the recipe on getting there could be a little different. Every dog's a little different, right? So that's sort of the thought process right now with Lua. That's a good girl, she's doing really well. So one of the things you can see here is, maybe you can see, but her ears are back and her tail is neutral, right? So her tail is not tucked and her tail is not high. So I think we're in a, that's exactly where we want to be. Okay, we want to be right there where the ears are back, paying attention, a little bit more of a humble state, and the tail is neutral, right? So it's not tucked and insecure, and it's not super high and cocky. Now, high tail could just also mean confidence, okay? But a lot of the time when your dog is in this kind of following state here, the tail will be neutral. Good. Good girl. Good girl, come on. So far she's responding nicely to the rope lead here. You can notice on some of these turns here, it doesn't take much to get her to follow, okay? So this is what we've been starting out working her with. Come on. And if she misses the turn, you can see I'm just giving her a little bit of guidance there on the leash. Might use my little bit of verbal lure there. You can see that this turn back here is much easier than this turn. And it's most likely because we have Cynthia over there with Sasha. Okay. Good girl. Come on, come on, Lua, come on. Good girl. Good, okay, so I'm gonna bring her to a stop here. Lua, sit. You tell her to sit. Good girl. Good girl. I don't mind that she doesn't hold it right now. Okay, come on. So, you know, she starts to whine. She's whining right now. She starts to build. Again, that's really happening when we come in and we praise her. And honestly, like, this is an issue with the owners, okay? It is. She's in a very anxious state of mind, and then we come and we're, you know, trying to soothe, okay? Which in reality is just reinforce that state of mind, okay? So anytime your dog is in an elevated state of mind and you come in and you know, engage with him in any way, so whether that be super excited or whether that be like insecure and fearful, if you come in and engage with him physically and in a soothing manner coming from the human side, we're gonna reinforce that state of mind, okay? So if your dog is becoming very anxious and you come in and try to pet them to soothe them, you're actually telling your dog, I like it when you're in an anxious state. Keep doing that, because that's how you get my attention. Right? And that's how you get my affection. Essentially, we're rewarding that state of mind. And that's one of the things that we really, really, really need to pay attention to. Okay, because all of this obedience stuff can go out the window as long as your dog is in the correct state of mind. Right? Dogs are very mental creatures. We absolutely do not need any obedience if you can keep your dog in the correct state of mind. Okay, so something that we can right away see with her, and that's why I've refrained from sort of petting her, because it seems to amp her. Okay, good girl. So this will be our first session right here. I have no idea how many turns we've made. How many turns have I made? At least 50, right? I have no idea. Good girl, let's go, come on. Good girl. But I think she's gonna do well as we continue. Again, it's only been one day, and this is our first time actually getting out on the leash here. And she's with us for 4 weeks. Good girl, yeah, good. So being that she's, some type of terrier here, I'm expecting her to be a good worker, right? Terriers, they can pick things up quickly. They're very smart, very tenacious. It can be challenging. And they really need that direction. They really need to know, okay, this is what you want me to do, this is what you don't want me to do. They really need that. They're very, very smart. Terrier, we bred them to go after things, okay? So whether that be, vermin or, fox but we bred them to go after and catch things. So they do have a lot of drive, right? We wanted them to be able to chase things, catch rats, so they have a lot of drive, and so we really need to feed that drive by giving them direction, teaching them things. We have to feed that. Good girl. All right, so we're gonna end here. We're gonna end right here, and we're gonna pick this up again next session. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, so even there, right, a little bit of pet there at the end, winds right away. So let's see how this continues.